They say every building has a ghost. Sometimes, it's not a spirit, it's someone people refuse to see. This is the story of a janitor, a man who cleaned the floors of an empire, and one day, owned it. Marcus Lane started working at Inspirational when he was just 19. He wasn't the intern. He wasn't the new hire in sales. He was the janitor. 6 nights a week, Marcus pushed his cart through marble hallways. Nobody really looked at him. He was part of the furniture, a blur in the background. He didn't mind, because Marcus had a secret. After each shift, while most people slept, he sat alone in the break room with a second-hand laptop, watching business lectures on YouTube and reading investment articles. He knew he was broke. He knew nobody cared. But he also knew something they didn't. He wasn't going to stay invisible forever. Marcus didn't clean mindlessly. He paid attention. He watched how the company worked, which meetings were loud, which departments stayed late, who the real decision makers were. He began writing down notes in a journal he called the Blueprint. Inside it were business ideas, things he'd overheard, strategies he admired, and mistakes he'd seen repeated. While polishing floors, he listened to audiobooks on leadership. While scrubbing conference room tables, he mentally redesigned those same meetings. He also saved every dollar. He lived in a tiny studio, no vacations, no fancy clothes, no Uber rides. He started investing in small index funds and learned how to flip used electronics online. Nobody knew that the janitor was slowly building a financial seed. Not for survival, but for something far greater. Tech was growing fast, too fast. The CEO, Randall Price, was a man obsessed with power. He drove a Maserati to work and held meetings no one understood. Behind the scenes, Marcus noticed strange things. Layoffs in departments that were profitable, sudden vendor changes with no explanation, employees being forced to sign NDAs out of nowhere one night. Marcus overheard a phone call while cleaning an executive's office. It was Randall. He was talking about moving money into a shell company overseas. Marcus froze. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he quietly took notes and recorded part of the call on his old phone. He didn't know what to do with the information. He was just a janitor. Would anyone even listen? 2 months later, the scandal broke. Anonymous whistleblowers exposed Randall's fraud. The stock plummeted. Investors ran. Tech filed for bankruptcy. Everyone was laid off, Marcus included. Marcus disappeared. No social media, no LinkedIn, no trace. People assumed he'd gone back to some small town, jobless and bitter. But in truth, he had cashed out his small investments and used them to move to a quiet town. For the first time in years, he focused fully on one thing: building. He enrolled in a remote business incubator, learned digital marketing, team management, pitch creation. He failed twice, first with a food delivery startup, then with an e-learning platform. But he learned something more valuable than success. He learned endurance. Marcus returned to his old journal, the Blueprint. And this time, he wasn't dreaming anymore. He was executing. During Tech's liquidation, Marcus quietly bought 3 things: the brand name, the old company domain, the abandoned headquarters building he used a shell company to make the purchase. No one recognized the buyer. He rebranded everything under a new name, Coronova, with a new vision, a new culture, a new code. Marcus didn't hire hotshots. He found the quiet talents, the overlooked engineers, the assistants who had ideas but no voice, the interns who were never hired, and he gave them the freedom to build. He created policies unheard of in tech: profit sharing for every employee, weekly idea hours where anyone could pitch something, a mentorship program where even leadership cleaned floors once a year. Marcus didn't just rebuild a company, he rebuilt a culture. Coronova's launch was a mystery. Nobody knew who was behind it. There were whispers, maybe a billionaire, a group of VCs, a tech prodigy. So when the company held its first in-person team summit, over 300 employees showed up. Marcus walked up to the stage in a clean black suit. No name tag, no introduction. And then he spoke. Some of you may not recognize me. That's okay. I was invisible for years. You walked past me in hallways. I was the guy changing trash bags during your meetings. The man who cleaned the coffee spill you didn't report. And that man built this. The room fell silent. He paused, then said, "The world often looks down on people who mop floors, but let me tell you, sometimes the janitor is the one with the master plan." Years later, Marcus wrote a book titled From Mop to Master Plan. It became a bestseller. Coronova grew into one of the most people-first companies in the country. And Marcus, he still walked the halls, still greeted the janitors by name, still stopped to listen when the quietest person in the room had an idea. Because he knew something most people forget: the floor you step on today, it might be owned by the person you ignored yesterday. If this story moved you, share it with someone who feels overlooked. And remember, the quiet ones are often building the loudest futures. Subscribe for more true-to-life cinematic stories that inspire you. Never know who's writing their master plan right now.